Five Nights at Freddy's. The game franchise that was created by the lovely Scott Cawthon has been around since 2014. Oh my god, I'm old. And it has exploded in popularity ever since release. And with the games comes its massive amounts of lore, which for me and a lot of other fans love the most about the franchise and would make a perfect movie. Then, back in 2015, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was announced, but the movie had a lot of setbacks. From studio changes to multiple script rewrites, it took a while to finally get this movie off the ground. Then in February of 2023, Jason Blum, the CEO of Blumhouse, announced that they finally started filming for Five Nights at Freddy's. And here we are, 9 years later since the first announcement for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and it's finally here. And what's the verdict? It's good. So yeah, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is finally here, and I can't believe I actually got a chance to go see it in theaters. Honestly, I was beginning to doubt that this movie would ever come out at all. But I'm happy to say that it's finally here, and I managed to get seats to go see it day one. I still can't believe that this movie was actually made in the first place. I've been a FNAF fan since day one, and just watching the development of this movie was just so magical. But enough of me rambling on and on about the development of this movie. So in this video, I wanted to go over my thoughts on the movie and give you all a FNAF expert's thoughts on the movie. But before I move on, I wanted to say I will be talking about spoilers in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie already, I recommend pausing this video and going out to your local theater or even watching it on Peacock and going to watch the movie and then come back. Or you can just keep watching if you don't care about spoilers at all. But anyways, so instead of giving you all my review all at once, I decided to split this video up into categories. That way I can talk about certain topics with this movie, and then by the end of the video, I'll give you all my final review. So the first thing I wanted to go over is the animatronics in this movie are by far the best part of this movie. The animatronics created by Jim Henson's Creature Shop are just beautiful. They did such an amazing job bringing the FNAF animatronics to life, with so much expression and so much character to them, and hell, they even move on their fucking own. You know how Disney's animatronics are known to be very lifelike? Yeah, the same talent was used for them because oh my god, they're so good. And watching the animatronics in this movie was something so amazing. They can go from really scary to cute, and I think that's great. They really did an amazing job bringing the FNAF animatronics to life. My only gripe with the animatronics is that they don't physically attack Mike themselves. What I mean by that is, for example, the only time Mike ever gets attacked by the animatronics is through the spirits of the dead kids through his dreams, making it kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street situation where if he gets injured in the dream, he also gets injured in real life. Listen, I don't know shit about making animatronics in real life. I just know FNAF lore, okay? So I don't know if this is a situation where the animatronics weren't made to do like physical like jump scare attacks to Mike, but they do have animatronic suits for people to go into, so they could have had someone like wear, I don't know, like a Freddy suit or something, and like run up to Mike and sort of like strangle him. I don't know. It was just kind of disappointing to see that the animatronics never like physically attacked Mike. And we even had like a scene where Foxy was just standing menacingly at Mike's office door, but then just never went to attack him.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
But besides that, I love the animatronics in this movie. They did such an amazing job bringing the FNAF animatronics to life, and I love them so much. Now, the next topic I wanted to go over was the... Now that we got the animatronics out of the way, it's time to talk about the human characters of the movie, starting with Mike Schmidt. In the movie, Mike Schmidt is a troublesome man who, when he was younger, witnessed his younger brother Garrett get kidnapped. Oh gee, oh boy, I wonder who took his younger brother. So he forces himself to relive that memory over and over again in his dreams because he swears that he saw the man who took his younger brother. And he's trying to find the memory of him seeing his face through his dreams. Right off the bat, that's an interesting character idea. And the reason why he got a job at Freddy's is because he's slowly losing custody over his younger sister, Abby. He used to have a mall security job, but he got fired because he thought a guy was kidnapping a child, so he beat the shit out of him. In reality, the dude that he was beating up was just the father to the child, and he got fired for that. Yeah. I honestly don't have that much else to say about Mike. The only complaint that I have about him, though, is that when he's at Freddy's, most of the time he just sleeps.
I will sleep.
Which it kind of just makes it boring a lot of the times. Don't get me wrong, I still like Mike in the movie, and he does other things besides just sleep. But I just feel like he sleeps way too much throughout the movie, and I would have loved to see him do a lot more than just be God's sleepiest soldier. Next up, we got Vanessa. I'm gonna be straight up honest here. I never really liked Vanessa. When she was first announced to be in the movie, I honestly did not like it whatsoever. Mainly because she plays a big part in Security Breach lore, and oh boy, me talking about Security Breach lore that's a video for another day. But over time, I started to think, maybe this movie will redeem Vanessa for me. Maybe she might be the cool side character that everybody loves. But then, in the movie, she's just like me when I hang out with my friends. Just explains FNAF lore, which is really all she does. I mean, like, she just comes in, explains lore to Mike, and then leaves. That's it. They had her going into the direction of that she's just a cool side character, but then, like, she just ended up being the lore explainer, and then, like, that's it. Occasionally, she would do, like, something cool, like, for example, she would, like, be nice to Abby and, like, help Mike out in, like, dangerous situations, but after that, it's just lore. Now, I know they had to explain past lore one way or another. I would have just preferred them to do it, like, through flashbacks or something like that. But this just makes it feel kind of awkward. There's literally nothing else I could say about Vanessa at that point. It's just FNAF lore, baby. Next up, we have Mike's younger sister, Abby. Abby is pretty cool. So she gets along with the animatronics really well and makes for some cute as fuck scenes with the animatronics. And she does have the ability to talk to the spirits of the dead kids, which is pretty cool, I gotta say. And her friend in the movie, I'm assuming it's Golden Freddy she's talking to throughout the movie, because he does show up later on, only for like a couple of scenes, but that's it. But I'm assuming she talks to him when she refers to my friend, so that's pretty cool. There's not much else I can say about Abby, besides, like, she's there to show that the animatronics are not just murderous killing machines. They're children, and they're shown to have, like, a good side to them. Which I think is good, because it shows that the animatronics aren't just like, murder, murder, blood, guts, everywhere, just murder, 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 murder. It shows that, like, oh yeah, wait, these are kids, and, like, they have child behaviors, such as, like, building a fort, and being all happy and stuff, but I don't know. But, yeah, they're not just murder machines. They are children. Yeah. And I do think Abby is a better character than Vanessa, I'm just saying. And now, last but certainly not least, Mr. William Afton. Or Steve. Steve! I honestly really love William Afton in this movie. Matthew Leonard does such a great job bringing William Afton to life. I love how he starts off with him being a nice, chill dude who's like, hey, Mike, I got a job for you, buddy. It's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, you know, why am I talking like this? And then later on, when he comes in with the Spring Bonnie outfit, he's a mentally unhinged maniac, and I love it. I don't really have any complaints about William Afton in this movie. I think they did him really well. At first, I had, like, a couple of complaints, like, oh, I think it's kind of silly that, like, you know, the animatronics just saw him as a friend at first until, like, later on when Abby changed the photo, and then they're like, oh my god, he's evil. But then, over time, I thought, wait, holy shit, the dude tricked them into thinking that he was on their side and a good guy for so long, and then, like, it just insane. And I love that now. That he tricked them into thinking that he was an ally, when in reality, he was the man behind the slaughter. I mean, my only kind of complaint would be that we've only got to see a little bit of William Afton in the movie, so I wish we would have seen more. But hey, you know, maybe in the next movie we'll see a lot more of him. So yeah, overall I think the human characters are hit and miss. I mean, the animatronics definitely steal the show here from the human characters, but I think some of them are still good and they're still interesting, but it feels like they could have done better. And they could have given these characters just a little more depth to them. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was me comparing the... Alright, let's talk about this right off the bat. Let's address the elephant in the room here. Mike not being Michael Afton. Okay, so this blew me and a lot of other people probably away. Because in the games, Mike Schmidt is Michael Afton just under an alias. So having Mike not be Michael Afton, it just didn't feel right. And it felt like they were setting it up too throughout the movie. For example, when Mike got fired from his mall job and went to Steve, or AKA William Afton's office, William Afton read off Mike's name, and before he can say his last name, he stopped, looked at Mike, and looked scared. And to me, that just seems like, oh shit, this is my son. He got scared because he was like, oh shit, this is my son. And not a reaction of like, oh, I kidnapped this guy's brother. Oh shit. I don't know. There's other moments in the movie too where it was like that, where it was sort of like leaning into the idea that maybe Mike is like William Afton's son, and it made it feel like there was going to be a moment in the movie where it was going to be like Star Wars, where it was going to be like, Mike, I am your father. But it just ended up not happening at all, and it just scratched my head a little bit. I was like, what? That's kind of odd. Why did they set it up like that if it's not like that at all? But instead, they gave that moment to Vanessa. Yup, Vanessa is William Afton's daughter. Because yeah, towards the end of the movie, Vanessa explains to Mike, after he gets severely injured by the animatronics, that William Afton is in fact her father. And in the theater, I just went, no! Because it definitely felt like they were setting it up for Michael to be William Afton's son, but they gave it to Vanessa instead. I feel like that moment should have went to Michael, though. I feel like it should have been like, Michael, you are William Afton's son, or maybe William Afton himself going, I am your father, something like that. It just felt like very missed. But who knows, maybe Mike is still William Afton's son, they'll just reveal it in the next movie. But still, it just doesn't feel right that Vanessa got that big reveal. It felt like they shoved that in there as just like a little, hey, here's something to give you a reason to care about Vanessa. But honestly, it just made me not like her even more, because I really feel like that scene should have went to Mike. I might just be simping for Mike here and just be like, hey, it should have went to Mike, god damn it. But it just doesn't feel right. But one thing I think they did do good on is the spring lock failure scene. Yes, against all odds, the spring lock failure scene is in the movie. A lot of fans started to not think that the spring lock scene was ever going to be in the movie due to the fact that it was PG-13 and that it wouldn't show it because it's too gory. Listen, the spring lock failure scene is shown through a minigame, so it's really up to interpretation of how it can go. And at first, I honestly didn't really like it as much, because I was like, there should have been a little bit more blood coming out of the suit instead of, you know, William Afton just twitching a little bit, you know? I feel like it should have been done a little better. But then over time, I began to be like, this is actually pretty decent. He does show that, like, he's suffering from the pain of the spring locks, which that's good. Although there's not that much blood, it still looks like a good scene. And my favorite part is towards the end, when Foxy grabs him by the shoulder and all the animatronics drag him into the back room. I think that's an amazing touch. Another thing that I thought they did beautifully was at the beginning with the minigame cutscene. I was hoping that they would show the minigames one way or another through this movie, whether it be through the end credits or something like that. And I'm happy to say the beginning when they showed, you know, how, you know, William Afton killed the kids with the Spring Bonnie outfit through the minigames. It was a nice nod to the minigames, and it was a great sequence. And oh my god, let me just say, the soundtrack to this movie is fucking banger. Another thing that I don't like about the movie, and that I forgot to mention earlier, is I don't like how William Afton and Vanessa are teamed up. I know that's how it is in Security Breach, where Vanessa is actually teamed up with William Afton or whatever. I just don't like it in this movie at all. Like I said, I just don't really like Security Breach lore, so that just might be a Security Breach lore thing of mine that I hate, but I just feel like it kind of sucked. And I just want to remind you that Carl the Cupcake is the real hero of the story. He's the reason why William Afton died. I honestly don't know what else to talk about in terms of the story in this movie. I mean, I feel like throughout this video, I've talked about every major story point and, like, my thoughts on it. So up until this point, I just don't know what else I can talk about. I might be forgetting something, and if I am, let me know in the comments below, and I'll answer it and give my honest review on it. But otherwise, I just don't know what else to talk about. Which, I guess, can bring me to my final category that I want to talk about before this video ends, is I want to go over my wow. This has been something crazy. Watching the development of this movie has just been so magical, and I still, to this day, cannot believe that I got to see the movie in theaters. It's just so mind-blowing. Blumhouse did such an amazing job with this movie. Although it's not perfect, it does have its flaws, but overall, I think this movie was still worth to watch. I gotta give a massive shout out to Blumhouse for just taking the 9 years and making something amazing like this. And even if the story isn't a 10 out of 10, the attention to detail to this movie is spectacular. From the animatronics to the set design to the costumes, everything about this movie is just near perfect. And it's hard for me to put it in words of how much I appreciate the fact that Blumhouse took 9 years to make this movie what it is today, and I am just so thankful to everybody at Blumhouse who worked on this movie. It is phenomenal. So if I had to give this movie a final score, I'd have to give it a 7 out of 10. Like I said, this movie isn't perfect. It isn't peak It isn't peak cinema like how a lot of people are saying. At least in my opinion, it isn't. But I cannot gloss over how much care and effort was put into this movie. So, like I said, even if the story isn't 10 out of 10, it's still fantastic to see and fantastic to watch. And I really do enjoy it. I think the movie is still great. Story could use some work, and I'm hoping maybe in the second movie they improve on the story and make it less mysterious and just a little more clear, you know? And as some of you may know, I've been a FNAF fan for a very long time now, since day one. And seeing this all develop, seeing the lore, seeing the game, seeing everything develop, it means so much to me. And watching it finally become like a worldwide known thing, and to even reach a peak status of a movie, has just been magical. So I want to say to Scott, to everybody at Blumhouse, Thank you. You've really changed my life.